Hi, in this video, I'm going to talk about how to get ready the conversion from word equation to formula equations. Now, word equation will be something like that. It's like a written sentence to tell you exactly what happened, like what compound react with what compound to form, like what reactant what react with what reactant to form what product and what product, or what reactant decompose into what two or three products, like the written sentences. That is what equation. And formula equation will be something like you guys just did in previously when you balance an equation, like C3H8 plus O2 equals CO2 plus H2O. After you write down all the formula, you gotta balance them, and then you have the state of the matter. So that is called the formula equation. So from the previous classification of chemical worksheet, you guys already learned that you have 6 chemicals. You can classify them will be ionic compound, covalent compound, metal only, non-metal only, the acid or the 7 diatomic elements. You also learn that there are 5 states of matter: solid, liquid, gas, PPT, or aqueous. And I listed out what kind of chemicals will use that state of matter. And here we're going to learn something new is on the word equation. When you see and, comma, reacts with, you got to use the plus symbol. When you see to yield, to produce, to form, decompose into, you got to use the arrow sign. So there are 4 steps of the write down transfer from word equation to formula equation. But I remember in the 7 to 8 years ago when I record the video, I followed this order. But then I see people like confusing, like they made a mistake. So I'm going to ask you to rearrange the order, and that way you will not make a mistake anymore. So step 1 should be include the plus or minus, a plus or arrow. That way you will separate the chemicals, okay? Because you must have plus sign or arrow sign between 2 chemicals. So that's step 1. Then step 2, you will write all the chemical symbols and formula for all element and compound, meaning that you got to classification of chemicals. Okay, you got to classify them. And then step 3, you will include the states of the matter, solid, liquid, gas for each substance. Then finally will be step 4, then will be a balance equation. Okay, so we arrange a little bit. So let's look up the first question. Then you have the highlighter, everything ready, okay, and the color pen, okay? So if you don't have the highlighter, make sure you get it right now. So let's look up the first question. Aqueous nickel VI nitrate react with sulfuric acid to yield a nickel VI sulfate precipitate and nitric acid. So we first want to use blue pen to find these terms, okay? That will let me choose the plus. And these terms will let me choose the arrow. So we're going to read, I find out react with. Circle that. So react with, I'm going to put the blue plus. I also find to yield. To yield will be blue arrow. I also find and, then I will put plus. That's it. So that means in between the plus, you will have chemical. And then in between the arrow, you also have chemical. All right? And then the next step is we're going to identify, like classify each chemical using this highlighter or color pen. So we can see that aqueous nickel VI nitrate. Now, this is actually ionic. So let me tell you, ionic, you know that you have the metal and non-metal. That non-metal is actually also include poly. It's also include polyatomic ions. Okay, it's also include polyatomic ions like SO4, 2 minus, CO3, 2 minus. You want to use a pink sheet, so you must have the pink sheet ready. All right. So we can identify them as the ionic. So I use grab pen to separate the metal from the non-metal part. So I underline nickel VI with 1 red line. I underline the nitrate with another red line to tell me that, oh, they are separated. They're ionic. That means I have to bring them crossover, put them together. So nickel VI will be Ni6 plus. And the nitrate will be parentheses NO3 minus. Just leave it like that, okay? And then sulfuric acid, I know it's acid, so it will be green highlighter. And sulfuric acid, I give you H2SO4. So we gotta use yellow highlighter. Okay, and actually I'm gonna like that way. And then you can use black pen here. You can use black pen. So sulfuric acid will be H2SO4. All right. And then nickel VI sulfate is also ionic. So nickel VI will be one red line. Sulfate will be another red line. That means that I have to write the charges. So nickel Ni6+, sulfate SO4 2-. Again, these poly, they're on the pink sheet. And then finally, nitric acid is an acid. So I'm going to have your green highlighter. And this will be black pen. Nitric acid is right here, HNO3. Okay, so this is my scratch. Right? It's like starting thing. Now we can put them together with the balancing and the state formula. Now you can write it on the top for each chemical. You always have three things. Okay, you always have a box. Number one, this is the coefficient box. Okay, number two, you always have the formula. Okay, so this is the coefficient box. Okay, so this is the coefficient box. Number two, you must have the formula. Number three, you will have the state on the subscript. So for each chemical, you must have these three things: coefficient box, formula, and the state subscript in the parentheses. All right, so we can come down here. We can start to using this. Okay, so we first black pen. You can use black pen now for everything. So I'm going to have a box, and then ionic. We know that we need to cross over, simplify. You can do it in your mind. I'm not going to repeat it. It will be Ni, parenthesis, NO3, close 6. And then finally, the state. He told me that is aqueous. So aqueous will be AQ. That's one thing. We copy the plus here. And then second, box again. This one, you don't need to cross over. The formula is already given to you. H2SO4. And acid is always aqueous. All the acid are aqueous. Okay, all the acid are aqueous. So we can put AQ. And then copy the arrow. And then box again. And ionic, we got to cross over and simplify. So will be Ni, parenthesis, SO4, close 3. And he said that this is a precipitate. So it will be PPT. And then I copy the plus. And then box again. And then I copy HNO3. And acid is always aqueous. So that would be AQ. So you have come up with this like scratch before balancing. All right. So when you start the new worksheet, you will please, okay, draw this right now. Okay, draw this. You want to draw the atom table. You create your own table. Okay, so you got to create yourself. All right, you know how to do that. I'm not going to repeat, but I want you to draw a atom table here to remind yourself, you need to do that step. So you got to balancing yourself. I'm not going to show the step how to balance, but draw this right now so remind you. Okay, after you do the balancing, you should get 2, 3, 1. You should get 2, 3, 1, and is it 2, 3, 1, 6? So I'm sorry, continue. So it should be like 1, not 2, I'm sorry. It should be 1, 3, 1, 6 after the do balancing. Okay, it should be 1, 3, 1, 6. Okay, so let's go to the back here. All right. Now this question, we got to do the same thing. All right, I'm going to use this on the side, okay? So we first want to identify the plus and arrow. So I do have reacts with blue pen, plus, and then to produce ruby arrow, and then I also see plus the end, okay? And then the next thing is we're going to identify, classify each one. Tricarbon octahydride should be covalent because it has non-metal and non-metal, no metalloid. So we don't have to cross over. We just need to box the whole thing with black pen to indicate that I don't need to separate them. Okay? So I will just box the whole thing with black pen. And then we can go ahead to write what it is. So tricarbon is C3, octahydrate is H8. Okay? And then oxygen gas. Now, oxygen gas is actually one of the 7 diatomic. So you cannot write O. It must be O2. Okay? So we got blue pen here. We highlight it. It's diatomic. So oxygen. So it's diatomic. It will be O2. And then carbon dioxide is of course, it's a covalent because it has no metal, just like non-metal and non-metal. So black box and CO2. And liquid water obviously is a covalent, so will be H2O. So you can see that something plus something equals something plus something. And then finally, we can add the box and the state. So first, the box. And then we put C3H8, and the state is a gas. It is a gas. And then plus arrow, the box, O2. O2 is a gas, okay? I may not tell you it's a gas, but you should recognize that the 7 diatomic element, the first 5, like this order, will be gas, and then the next one will be L, and the last one will be solid. So you should recognize that. I may not tell you that it's a gas, okay? You need to memorize that. And then arrow, box. CO2 is a gas, plus box, water, he said that it's a liquid. Okay, so you got to draw the atom table here. You got to draw it. You got to do it on your own. And after you do balancing, you will get 1, 5, 3, 4. After you do balancing. All right. Next question is this. So we got to find the plus thing. So I find we add with plus. I find to yield arrow. I found comma plus. I found and, like comma and. I don't know if you can see that. It's actually together. Okay? Because you cannot put plus plus. You want to see this actually. It's just like I put a comma before and. It's because it's grammar. So it's not like plus plus. You should see that comma and as a one thing, which is a plus. Okay? Then we'll make sense. Something plus something, arrow something plus something. And we're going to identify calcium carbonate is a ionic. So Ca2 plus, parenthesis CO3 2 minus. Hydrochloric acid is a acid. So green, yellow highlighter. And I know that from the acid right here is a HCl. I can just use black pen, so everything I can use black pen. Okay, and then the calcium chloride, it is also a ionic. So calcium is Ca2 plus, chloride Cl minus. Carbon dioxide is a covalent. So black box, CO2. And then water is also covalent, will be H2O. So before you balance, you should see that, oh, does it make sense the way that I write like that? Something plus something, arrow something, plus something, plus something. So if you put 2 plus here, you know that you did something wrong. Does that make sense? And then finally, we got to draw the box. cross over yourself, simplify yourself. CaCO3, it is a solid plus ox. HCl, acid is AQ, arrow, ox, crossover, simplify, CaCl2, this is aqueous, AQ, draw the arrow plus, ox, CO2, it is a gas, plus, ox, H2O, it is a liquid. The question tell you, okay, liquid gas precipitate, okay? So the thing is you will get it completed, okay, before you do balance. Okay, it looks like good. So you're gonna do the atom table again here. Gonna do the atom table here. So after you do balancing, you should get 1, 2, 1. You should get 1, 2, 1, 1, 1. You should get 1, 2, 1, 1, 1. Okay. Next question. We gotta find. We say decompose into. Decompose into will be arrow. I find N plus. Okay, so this composition. So sodium chloride ionic. Na plus, Cl minus. Sodium metal is actually a metal. Now, if I did not tell you it's a metal, you should also recognize that sodium is a metal. If I just say sodium, it is a metal. So sodium is a metal. Make sure that you only keep it the symbol and state. No charge, no subscript, nothing. Okay, just like iron, I put like FES. No charge, no subscript. Okay, so we recognize that this is sodium. It is the orange color. So will be just like a black pen. So will be just black pen. Will be just symbol. And then later we add the state, no charge, no subscript. Okay? And then chlorine gas, we recognize that chlorine gas is one of the 7 diatomic elements. So blue highlighted. And we can know that it's diatomic, so it will be Cl2, not Cl. It's diatomic. So something decomposes into something and something. Oh, it looks great. Okay? Then now we can go ahead to draw the box. NaCl, and it says solid. Follow, arrow, box, Na. Now we say that metal are always, I think I put down on the other side. I say metals are always like solid, except, except that like mercury, or they tell you something else. Okay, otherwise, metal is always solid. Solid, this is solid. And then plus box, Cl2. Though it's a diatomic, so remember you have to memorize that the first 5 of the 7 is gas. They are gas, so Cl is a gas. So even though I did not tell you, I may just say chlorine, you need to know that it's a gas. Okay, so you got to do the atom table. You do the atom table, and after you balance, you will get 2, 2, 1. All right. Now finally, last question. I find reacts with plus. I find to yield arrow. I find N plus. Okay, and then zinc metal. Again, even though I did not tell you it's a metal, I say zinc. You also need to recognize that it's a metal only. We will not put subscript. We will not put any charge. We will just write black pen. It's a zinc. Cn. And then sulfuric acid is a acid. So green highlighter, acid is, you can find it from the acid list. It is H2SO4. Zinc sulfate is a ionic red pen. So Zn 2 plus. Parenthesis SO4 2 minus. You got to do crossover in your mind. And hydrogen gas is one of the 7 diatomic. So you know that it's diatomic. So we put H2. a black pen, H2. So, okay, look up to see if it makes sense. Something plus something equals arrow, something from something. Good. It looks perfect, the format. Then now we can put the box, Cn. Again, metal are always solid unless they tell you something different. So zinc is always solid. And then plus box, H2SO4. Acid is always AQ. Arrow, box. This is ionic, so you weigh the charge separately because you get a crossover simplify, and you will get a ZnSO4, and it tells you that it is a aqueous, so AQ, plus, box again, H2. Again, even though I did not tell you is gas, if you look it up, H2 is the gas. It's the first 7 electron atom. So it will be gas. Okay? Then you got to do the atom table on the side. So after you're balancing, you will get 1, 1, 1, and 1. Okay? So I hope this video is a little bit long, but it covers everything that you need.